In today's video, we're going to be having a look at 5 new features that I really like in the recent 2022.2 update. Check it out. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. It is indeed that time of year again, my birthday. And I know that's not why you're all here. You're here to find out about 5 new features that just dropped in the recent release. But while you are here, and I do have your attention, why not head to the description below and check out a GoFundMe fundraiser that I'm currently running. This fundraiser is for a charity that's near and dear to me, and if you do happen to have a penny or a pound and you want to just help contribute to this amazing charity, then please do. A massive thank you to everybody that has already donated. It means a lot to me and also to the charity, as well as the families and children that charity supports. If you are interested in finding out why it means so much to me, then you can find all that information in that GoFundMe link, and there is also a short video there that you can also check out. And with all that said, let's jump straight into it. So the first thing that you will have probably noticed with this update is that it's update 2022.2. There was no 2022.1 update this year, so there is only going to be 11 releases for the whole of 2022. But just because there was no January release, it doesn't mean that the Home Assistant developers just stopped working and that the people in the community just stopped contributing, because in fact, they all carried on. And just so you can see how much they did carry on, here's the stats for the 2022.2 release. So with that release, there were over 2,645 pull requests. There was 5,000 files changed. There was over 177,000 lines of code changed, and there was over 55,000 removed. There was just loads. Way too many for me to cover in just one video, which is why we're only going to be covering 5. If you're interested in having a read up on all of the new features, the new changes, the new integrations, and most importantly, the break-in changes, then I'll have a link to the official Home Assistant blog post in the description below. Or maybe you'd actually like to hear the guys that create and actually do all the work to make Home Assistant possible talk about the latest release, in which case, why not head over to the official Home Assistant YouTube page. There you'll find a link to the 2022.2 release party, and the release party gets live streamed every first Wednesday of the month to accommodate the new update. So if you wanted to ask the developers some questions about the new features, or maybe you just want to hang out with the community, then it's a great place to be on the first Wednesday of the month. The main focus for the 11 releases of 2022 are going to be on Streamline in Home Assistant. So whether that's streamlining existing features and services, or adding new ones, or even rewriting parts of Home Assistant to make it more streamlined, then that's going to be the focus. But just because this is the focus, it doesn't mean we're going to miss out on getting new features and new services. And if you have a look at the recent release and the way that that's gone, then those new features and services don't show any signs of slowing down. Let's kick this off with our first streamlined feature then, the Media Browser, or as it's now known, Media. In addition to its shortened name, Media now features this beautiful cover flow design and also a media toolbar that's going to allow you to control your various different Home Assistant media players. As well as this, the experience for browsing media has been vastly improved, and I'm a big fan of the cover flow design. Another cool feature is the fact that integrations can now browse media sources provided by other integrations. A good example of this is if you make use of Sonos speakers and the Spotify service, so you can browse your Spotify playlists and then you can just play them on your Sonos devices. This overhaul for media has been a huge improvement both visually and in terms of usability, and it's a great step forward in making Home Assistant more streamlined. Moving on to our next feature then, and this one's going to answer an all-important Home Assistant question. How do I check for updates? No longer are you going to be sat there in the Home Assistant release party, restarting and refreshing all the various parts of Home Assistant. Instead, what you can now do is just sit inside the configuration panel and hit the top 3 dots in the top right corner and just click check for updates. If there are any updates for Home Assistant, they'll pop up here, and if not, you'll just see a little notification to tell you that there are none available. On to our third feature then, which is the ability to download Diagnostics for integrations and devices. This particular feature isn't really an end-user feature, but what it will do is it will allow developers to quickly fix bugs and also enhance and improve features based on this diagnostic data. So end users can download this data as a plain text file, and inside of that text file you'll find the JSON for a particular integration or a device that you're looking at. This can then be shared through the Home Assistant issue tracker, and then the developers have access to information and data that they otherwise wouldn't have. None of the downloaded diagnostics contain any personal user information, and if this is something you're worried about, you can always just read through the text file before you send it on. Next up, we've got the button helper and button template. In the previous release, the button entity was added, and since then, a common question seems to have been, how do I create my own button entity? Creating a button helper is simple. From the configuration page, you're going to want to choose automations and scenes. Then along the top, you're going to want to choose helpers. And from here, you're going to want to press add helper in the bottom right corner. You can then just select the button helper and you can assign it a name and an icon and just simply press create. And once you've done that, you can just make use of the button helper the same as you would with any of your other helpers. If you're a fan of templating, then there is now also a templating entity for buttons, and there have also been some great enhancements for templating in this update. Let's wrap this up then and have a look at our final feature, which is scene states. Historically, scenes never really had a proper state, they just had a state of scene in, which wouldn't be super helpful, and you couldn't really build any proper automations based on this. Now when a scene's run, it will record the last timestamp of when it was activated, and this is great in terms of automations because we can do a couple of things based on this. For example, you could trigger an automation based on when a scene gets activated, and this can trigger further automations and actions within your home. Another great thing about this is it gets recorded into your logbook, so you can actually find out when a particular scene was activated, and you can even find out who activated that scene. And there we go guys, that's been a quick look at 5 new features in the 2022.2 update. There's plenty of other features and improvements that were added in this update, but those were just 5 that I really liked. Some other updates worth checking out if you're interested were the updates to Nabu Casa. If you watched the State of Open Home, then you'll know that annual subscriptions were planned for Nabu Casa, and this has now started rolling out. So it's starting in the US and it's going to slowly roll out to other countries, but you'll be able to purchase an annual subscription to Nabu Casa. If you're interested in checking out the annual subscriptions, then I'll leave a link to it in the description below. It's also worth pointing out here that the monthly fee for Nabu Casa is going to increase in a couple of months if you're an existing Nabu Casa user. The other thing worth mentioning is the improved infrastructure. So last week the infrastructure was upgraded, and since then the Amazon Echo and Google integrations have been much quicker and more reliable. So you now shouldn't get those cases where you ask the Echo to do something and then it will tell you that it couldn't do it but it actually did. If you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to drop me a like, and if you're not already and you want to see more videos like this, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you ding dong that notification bell, you'll be alerted to any future video that I do. As always, a massive thank you to these awesome dudes. These awesome dudes are my Patreons. If you're interested in helping support my channel, which in turn allows me to create videos like this, then you'll find a link to my Patreon in the description below. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.